Hello everyone and welcome back to Chapter 9. Moving along here, our next activity is Exercise 6 on page 85. Exercise 6 is a continuation of the pronunciation tip that we were looking at in the previous exercise about shifting the focus word to follow new information. When new information is introduced, the focus word shifts to that new word, new piece of information. So take a listen to take a listen to CD2, track 57, and you are going to underline the focus word in each thought group. As we did in Chapter 8, our thought groups are marked by the forward slash, the hyphen, and you have punctuation as well. Punctuation that marks, written punctuation that marks the breaking, the dividing of thought groups. So for each thought group, you're going to identify the focus word. And as you listen to CD2, track 57, listen how the focus word shifts, especially in the second half. The vowel sound is longer. The intonation, the pitch of your voice, or of the voice in the narrative, is markedly higher. And that's to mark the introduction of new information. All right, let's give it a listen. CD2, track 57.
Exercise 6A, page 85. Now, let's continue our discussion of pollution. Yesterday, we defined pollution. Today, we'll talk about the impact of pollution, its far-reaching effects. You know, many think pollution is just a problem for scientists, but it's not. It affects everyone. Because it affects human lives, it's a health problem. Because it affects property, it's an economic problem. And because it affects our appreciation of nature, it's an aesthetic problem.
Play one more time for you. And as you're listening, especially here at the end, problem is not new, right? We hear problem a lot, but you can hear the speaker actually with both the word affects and problem. That's consistent, that's not new, but the type of effect and the type of problem, that's new information. Aesthetic problem, economic problem, health problem. Those words, those descriptive adjectives, health, economic, aesthetic, that's new information that's being introduced. Listen a second time and listen how there's added emphasis. In the beginning, problem is a focus word here. But toward the end, the focus becomes the new piece of information that's being introduced. In this case, the type of problem or the type of effect. Give it one more listen.
Exercise 6A, page 85. Now, let's continue our discussion of pollution. Yesterday, we defined pollution. Today, we'll talk about the impact of pollution, its far-reaching effects. You know, many think pollution is just a problem for scientists, but it's not. It affects everyone. Because it affects human lives, it's a health problem. Because it affects property, it's an economic problem. And because it affects our appreciation of nature, it's an aesthetic problem.
All right, so remember that the focus word is what you need to underline in each thought group. Usually the focus word is the last word in a sentence, the last content word in a sentence, but when new information is introduced, the focus word will shift over to that new piece of information to emphasize the new piece of information and de-emphasize what's already been established.